The legendary Mike fucking Keith sitting at my fucking table. Here we go. So we're bullshitting about what? The Stein Mansion. And what a fucking nice place it must have been back in the day. You get quiet all of a sudden. The camera comes on. You get fucking quiet.
Not at all. No, I don't like to have that house whenever we were kids.
Yeah. Like you said, go ahead.
Even as fucking adult, I would have liked to have that
fuck
place.
Yeah. That was a beautiful fucking home. They tore it down, and now it's just a parking lot.
Yep.
And then next door they put the Resta, what is that, their corporate office or whatever? You can call it that. The corporate offices. That's a nice building though. That the Resta office. That's a nice little building.
Yeah, compared to what
nice little shack.
Remember the little school that was there, the CCD?
Church. The church. That was a little church, wasn't it?
No, it was the where the kids went to that CCD class for the Christian kids. Remember, it was just a little tiny building.
Yeah, they had the little festival there in the summertime.
Well, that was after they tore the building down.
I was too young. I don't even remember that building.
We used to drop the Catholic kids off.
Okay.
It was a little CCD school.
Okay.
When we were young.
Yeah.
They tore it down. Then we used to have the festivals up there.
See, I didn't know there was a fucking school there. I had no fucking clue. I went to CCD down at Mount Carmel. That's where we went to church, was Mount Carmel, so then we had the CCD.
Yeah,
there.
that's where they moved. That's where they moved.
In the fucking creepy basement with the creepy priest.
Every priest was a creep.
Yeah, how about it? No shortage of creepy priests.
No.
Where were you born, Mike? Were you born up at Miners?
No, I was born over in Butler County, Butler Memorial Hospital.
No shit.
Yeah, we lived over there for a couple years. We didn't come up here until 1982.
No shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought you were born right up here in Miners and just
both of my parents were from here. One was from Garmentown.
Okay.
One was over in West Branch by Bud Curley.
Oh, right over here, right by the stadium there.
Yep, yeah. That empty lot across from Bud Curley's.
Okay,
that's where my father grew up.
There were houses there.
Yeah, it's no longer there.
Yeah, that lot.
Yeah, it's there by the dirt.
Where they do the bonfires.
Yeah, right there where they do right where the dirty is.
The what?
You ever see that house right there?
Oh,
right there on the corner.
Who are those? Oh, you mean the one right here on the left, like to the left of Bud's house?
Yeah, right directly across the street from Bud Curley's house is where my family grew up.
Oh, okay.
No, we didn't move up here until 1982.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I thought you were from town here.
No.
And your dad was a coal miner. Your stepdad was a coal miner.
Yeah, and my other dad, my real dad, worked in the chrome shop down in Mars, PA.
Oh, okay.
You imagine fucking coming to this place here.
This dump.
Remember when you were in school? They would the new kid would say, "Hey, well, what's your name and where you're from?"
Yeah.
You imagine coming into this fucking school and telling people you're from Mars. You want to talk about a fucking hard time?
I'll betcha. I'll guarantee it.
Yeah, even in fucking second grade, it was like, man, this is an eye opener here.
Yeah, this little fucking dump. And by then, the coal mines were starting to close, right? By the time you guys got up here?
No, I think they closed in 91.
Is that when it was?
Yeah, 91 is whenever Greenwich started shutting down.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was the year that
recent.
Yeah,
I mean, I was a kid. I was probably 10, 11 years. I was, 11, 12 years old back then.
What year did you graduate?
98.
Holy fuck, man.
Yeah. You were what, 92, 93?
91.
91.
Holy shit.
That's hilarious. That's another question I had was you grew up with all those fucking rough guys, right? You guys were you're like a generation ahead of me. So you guys were like the last of the tough guys.
Oh,
like when being tough meant something.
Oh, when we came into Amy, I tell everybody, I say, you know what? When I came into Amy, usually every town had a bully or had a tough guy. Shit, man, down in Amy, everybody was tough.
It was full of them. Yep.
Even the girls were tough.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nobody that took any mercy on you down there. Yeah,
Amy's just rough all around, though.
It was. I mean, we had some brutal kids down there.
Oh yeah.
Some very, like I said, even the women.
Yeah.
Like our girls down there would even play. I mean, full contact football with us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they were no joke.
Rough.
I mean,
rough.
And but yeah, back then, I try to tell people all the time, you know, yeah, you had bullying.
Yeah.
But back then, if you bullied somebody, and if I caught, say, you bullying somebody that was smaller than you,
yeah,
we would step up and be like, "Oh, Nick, you want to bully somebody? You're gonna fight somebody your own size.
Right.
You're not gonna get away with it.
Right.
You know, we always stuck up for each other back then.
I gotcha.
And but now the
it's
kids,
a pile on.
the
social
kids,
media.
Yeah, the kids today, they only think about themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't look out for their buddies anymore.
Well, like social media, dude. Social media was supposed to bring us all together, and it just tears us apart. It tears us apart, dude.
Yeah, there's no unity like, you know, whenever we grew up.
If you get one group picking on one kid, then all the other groups go in hard on that one kid, and it's all on social media.
Yeah, because
that's where it all starts.
Is they figure if they're picking on that kid, they're not picking on them.
Nobody's picking on them. You're right. You're right.
And we're back in our day.
Yeah.
If you picked on one of our friends,
the whole fucking crew jumped in.
You better believe it. We were, you know, we wouldn't gang you.
Right.
We wouldn't gang up on you. But if you wanted to fight, you were going to fight somebody your own size.
That's right.
You wasn't going to pick on somebody that was smaller than you.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I try to tell everybody that, you know, I said, because who knows, one day it might be you.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you don't, and I try to tell the kids, stick up for the guy that's getting picked on, because who knows, that might be one of the kids that stick up for you in the future.
He might be your fucking employer in the future. You never know.
Some of my best friends, Nick, that I have today were people that I stuck up for when I was in school.
Oh yeah.
You know, and because they were no better than us. You know, we were no better than them.
Right.
And yeah, but today it's every kid for themselves.
You know where I got it the worst? Walking home from the middle school. When I was in middle school and I used to have to walk home. Across the fucking dike. Get the shit beat out of me by all those West Branch kids over there. The beatings I took walking home. Oh, you know, my God.
Yeah, but back then, I would say that's how we kept each other in line.
Well, sure. I'm not saying I didn't cause a lot of it. I'm sure I did.
I'm sure your mouth got your ass whooped more than once.
Oh, all day. But there'd be hordes of fucking kids following me home, chasing me home. I'm 12, 15 kids chasing me home, you know?
And your mom probably had something
to do with it. I knew how to stir up the hornet's nest.
Oh, absolutely. And today, kids are all about themselves. They won't, majority of them won't go out of their way to help anybody else.
When did words start to fucking hurt us? That's what I want to know. When did words start to hurt us?
Nick, I'd have to say that the turning point was in the mid 90s, mid to late 90s.
What a shame. What a fucking shame.
There was a change in the culture.
Okay.
Fighting was no longer acceptable.
Right.
It just all went to pot. Like, I would say anytime after 91, 92, everybody started getting soft. Ugh. You know, it's just the way it was. I mean, and because I look back, and just like you said, our generation was probably...
You guys were like the last of the tough guys. Like you, Johnny Piatek was fucking...
Kevin.
Kelly.
Oh,
see, you're going even a generation before Johnny. You're talking Kevin and those guys. I only know Kevin and like maybe a couple of his friends. I don't even remember their names off the top of my head, but yeah, you guys were like the last of the tough guys. And then Johnny grew up. Johnny was a kid when you guys were like a little bit older. So Johnny and them guys, Joe Luther, those guys grew up with you guys.
Yeah.
And then so like the generation after him would be me, Marky, those guys, and it's like. We looked up to you guys, but that was right around the time when like things started getting fucking soft, man.
Fighting was no longer acceptable.
No.
And back in our day, that's how you had your pecking order.
Right.
And it was really weird. It went from town to town.
Yeah.
It went from West Branch, North End, Amy,
yeah.
You know, everybody had their pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
What was really funny though, we might fight amongst ourselves, but now you let some Indiana kids, or you let somebody come in and start picking on West Branch.
Oh yeah.
Well, then
all of them get together.
Yes, everything is set aside then. Now we're Northern Cambria.
That's
now
right.
You're not going to come into Northern Cambria, which now it seems alien. Like it.
Yeah, that's no more. They don't do that anymore.
Well, then again, too, the laws changed a lot now.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like a felony now, isn't it? If you get caught fighting, they want to hang you out to dry, man, and ruin the rest of your life. And for what?
If I did what I did when I was a kid right now, beyond the shadow of a doubt, it would be prison time.
Well, they'd probably want you to go to counseling, and if you're a kid today and you're fighting, they want you to go to counseling, and they want you to go to anger management, all that bullshit. For what? It's a healthy amount of bullying is good. There is a healthy amount of bullying. It makes you tougher later on in life. What are you going to do? Send your kid out into the fucking world thinking that the world's lilies and fucking daisies, that nobody's going to pick on them? What the fuck?
Yep, thin-skinned.
You go to a place like the coal mines, like the fucking steel mill, railroad.
One of the first questions when I got my job 14 years ago, one of the first things they asked me, you have thick skin? I said, of course I do. And they said, because listen, everybody here is brutal.
These guys are brutal.
Which I didn't care. I mean, I'm from Amy. I mean, you're not going to rattle my cage, But now, there is no joking around with anybody.
No. There are certain jobs where you can still get away with it. But if you're in a corporate setting, if you're in a fucking cubicle, you're fucked. Yeah. If you're sitting in an office somewhere, you can't joke around like guys. You can't do that. You can't get away with it anymore.
What's up, dick face?
Yeah, exactly. You can't do that anymore. They can you right away.
But the laws have really, really changed.
It's fucked up.
Like, no exaggeration. If when we were kids, if we heard Cherry Tree, Westover, Burnside,
right.
If we heard that, hey, Burnside's got a tough guy. That knows how to fight. We would go back, say, hey, who has the best chance of beating him? Yeah. And then we would actively go down there and say, hey, listen, we're looking for so-and-so.
Yep.
We heard he can fight. We have a guy here that thinks he can, beat him.
You just duked it out. That's fucking awesome.
And then, literally, you shook hands.
And party.
You walked away, and that was it. And like I said, that's the way it was all through high school and in the early 90s. But then...
The last of the tough guys, building your own cars and shit.
Well, this is when the laws started changing, and then people got soft.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if you broke my nose, I went home, I sucked it up. I didn't call the popo.
That's it.
Well, once the police started getting involved, hey, your kid beat up little Joey, and then started the...
I can still remember, what was it, like 96, I was in high school, so it had to be 96, 97. Jimmy Sabella, young Jimmy Sabella, he put me through the fucking bay window down where Family Dollar is. One of those, it's not there anymore, but the big bay window there. Dude, I had fucking huge, I leaked the whole way from there to home, here.
You didn't call the popo, though,
No, fuck no. As soon as I went through that window, he ran. He took off. And I got up, I saw I was bleeding, so I come home, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And that was in 96, 97, and that was when, things were starting.
Like I said, that's...
If we would have got caught, I'm sure it would have been big trouble, but we never got caught. I think, we did end up, we had to pay for the window.
Yeah.
We had to pay for that window.
But you didn't have him arrested.
We didn't have, no, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and like I said, that was the changing of the guard right there, is whenever everybody couldn't take an ass whooping anymore.
I have never, ever, ever called the police because I got beat up. Ever.
I haven't either.
Who does that?
Yep.
Now you have people calling the police for harassment on Facebook because apparently words hurt.
And I'll tell you what, man. I took one at the old sheets where the...
On the straight stretch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I took...
Wow, you're going back 3 sheets ago.
That's how long ago it was. No exaggeration, man. I started in on a kid that was on the sidewalk.
Okay.
Didn't see his brother and his buddy was in sheets.
Oh.
Man, it was horrible. Ended up breaking my nose, all black in both my eyes.
You know what? No cops were involved?
Nope. Never called the cops. And I'll give it to them. It took me about 8 months. I was driving down the road, and I seen the one kid at his grandmother's.
Yeah.
So I'm driving down the road and I see him in the yard. I put the car in reverse. I pulled in. His name was Jimmy. I say, Jimmy. He said, I know what you're here for, Mike. I said, well, what do you want to do? He said, let's go back into the woods. He said, he was at his grandma's house.
Yeah.
He said, let's go back into the woods. He said, we'll take care of it. Went back there, took his ass whooping, and I said, hey, listen. I said, call your there was two brothers that lived in another town.
Yeah.
I said, tell them I'm on my way down. Sure enough, he gets on the horn and says, hey, Mike's on his way. And sure enough, they said, hey, what we did was wrong. We duked it out. And to this day...
That was the end of it.
That was the end of it. To this day, we're still friends. I got nothing against them.
Right.
I mean, but if you, like I said, if you did that today...
Oh,
they'd be in jail.
Oh,
I mean,
no doubt.
You just can't.
Well, one of them would have fucking recorded it and put it on fucking Facebook, Instagram, and the rest of them, and then from there it's fucking mayhem. Everybody has to go to court. Now this court system's tied up.
And honest to God, like out of all the kids that I went to, all the kids that I went to school with and everything, I probably by far was the one that was arrested the most.
Really?
Oh, this disorderly conduct, aggravated assault. Because that's you had to be blatant about it,
Sure.
And yeah, I would have, if we would have had social media back then,
you'd still be in jail.
Oh my God, it would
be in a mental hospital.
It would have been way worse.
Real bad.
Well, you would
have
have proof.
Sure. Yeah.
Back then you could lie out of it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
now there's fucking cameras. Everybody's got a camera now.
And you know what was different back then too? Was if we went to Cherry Tree, which we did, and we were going to fight with the kids in Cherry Tree, which we did, right down by the fire hall.
Sure.
When the Popo showed up, they took us into the police station, and they said, hey, listen, you guys don't belong here. They didn't arrest nobody, but they said, hey, listen, you guys don't belong here. You get back up to your town.
Yeah.
Same thing, Giant Eagle parking lot. We had people come up, duked it out, and they said, listen, you guys came the whole way up here to fight. Now, you need to go back home. There was no arresting and we're going to fight this out in court. They just told them, you need to go back. Go back to your town.
Go back where you belong. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And
that's crazy.
But like I said, thank God though there was no social media back then, because
we'd all been in jail.
No.
Yeah, man. Like I said, look, I looked up to you guys. You guys were like the last of the time. I remember even back then, being as young as I was, I knew that there was something lost with your generation, with you guys coming up. I knew something was lost, because it was like even the kids I went to school with, as brutal as they were in middle school, by the time we got to high school, it was like something was gone. Like something was, you didn't see kids fight. You didn't even see really, remember we all used to hang out downtown JJ's in the pool hall. So you had the new pool hall or whatever that was down by Dollar General.
We used to always have the rivalry in between JJ's and Larry's.
Yeah. You didn't have that anymore. And then, you had Tony's Pizza. People would go to Tony's Pizza, grab a slice or two, or Fox's, whatever. Kids weren't out like they used to be. And something was lost. Dude, something was lost with your generation. Yeah. Something was definitely lost.
I absolutely agree with you. Because it was, I don't know if it was the parenting or what.
Was it your gen? It was like the graduating class before I got to high school. It was like when I was going from 8th into 9th.
Yeah.
The class that had graduated the year before, when I was going from 8th into 9th, the class that was 12th grade that graduated, they did like $3 million worth of damage to that high school.
See, we would have never done that.
I just remember riding my bike up there, man. And it was like construction crews and shit. They ripped lockers out of the walls. They fucking broke windows and shit.
Because you know what would have happened?
Those were bad fucking kids.
Well, the thing was, and I can almost pinpoint exactly what you're talking about. 1990. Yeah. They brought a paper around to the high school and to the middle school. No more corporal punishment.
I remember that. I do remember that.
Yep. It happened in 1990.
Yeah, I was in like 4th or 5th grade.
And I had a music teacher. His name was Paul Walker.
Okay.
And I remember talking to Mr. Walker, And I said, well, what do you think about this? And he said, we're in trouble. He said, if there's no punishment for how a kid acts, he said, what's the deterrent for him? And
none.
That was the turning point when they took out corporal punishment out of school.
That was it. That was all she wrote.
The school was doomed. I mean,
I think at first it was like your parents had to sign a thing that said the teacher was allowed to paddle you. Because I know, like, the kids that didn't have that, boy, did they get fucking picked on. And they were just fags.
See, I'll tell you, where my mother was the opposite way.
Right.
My mother called the school and told him, listen, if you paddle my kid, you call home, because he's going to get it again when he gets home for acting like an idiot in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough, old Mr. Bernard, every time, in which, back then, I could take a beating with the best of them.
Right.
And every time, sure enough, I'd get paddled in school.
Come home and take it twice as bad as at home.
And to be honest, Nick, that's the way it should be, because your kids shouldn't be out there acting a fool in public.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, it kind of sucked at the time, but at the same time, it was necessary.
You're a better person for it.
Absolutely, and it was necessary. And when they took out corporal punishment, and it become taboo to beat your kids,
that was the decline.
That was
decline.
That was the turning point.
Big
right
fucking
there.
Decline.
Yep.
That was it.
And you could see from that point on where things started to change with your generation and the generations that came after you.
Yep.
And it until it ever returns to you can beat your kids again, and not beat your kids, not abuse your kids.
No, I got you.
Smack them on their ass.
Yeah, they need it.
We needed it. Until it returns.
It's like, if we needed it, what makes you think these kids don't need it?
Well,
I don't get it.
What happened, Nick, is people that didn't like getting their ass whooped. Okay, they said, I'm not gonna beat my kids anymore.
Oh.
I don't want my kid. They say, I don't want my kid to go through what I went through.
Right.
But if your kid doesn't go through what you went through, the end product is going to be different.
Way different.
So you have a good job, you have a house, you're a productive member of the community.
Right.
Well, wonder why that is. Because your parents corrected you.
Discipline.
Well, now guess what happens when you don't correct your kids? You're not going to get the end result that their parents did.
I know it.
And I see it. I see it has come to fruition, Nick, and it's a shame.
It is a goddamn shame
that they did a big disservice to their kids, and you deal with it. You see how they are. You see their work ethic.
Oh, yeah.
You see how they treat old people.
Oh yeah.
There's no respect in them.
None.
I won't say all of them. I'm not gonna.
I work with young guys. Very good workers. Very very well disciplined.
Mm-hmm. There's some of them.
Yeah, there are a few and far between, but they're out there. They're out there.
You know what? They're usually farm boys.
A lot of them are. You're right.
Absolutely.
A lot of them are. Yep. Yeah.
And because they grew up in the liberal.
Even
households.
like some of them young guys that I work with, when they tell me stories about shit that they did on the farm, it's like I'm 40, they're like 18, 19 years old. They know what hard work is. Like, growing up here.
That's why they have the work ethic.
Yeah, they're hard workers. They are hard workers.
You get a millennial or something, and you might as well forget about it.
Game over. Game over from the start.
Yeah, I absolutely see it all the time.
Yep.
And you can almost tell if we have a good worker at the mill.
Yeah.
I'll strike up a conversation. Say, hey, your parents beat you? Parents ever correct you? And usually, honest to God, the good workers that want to do well, absolutely.
Yep.
They, for the most part, they've all been corrected.
Sure.
Coming up through the years.
Yeah, it takes a good beating to get your kid where you need them. Takes a good beating. And not just that, but society's got to beat you too.
Yeah.
If your parents are, correcting you at home, and then you're going out, and then if people are treating you different or holding you up on a pedestal, whatever, society's got to beat you too. That's where bullying comes in. Yeah. A healthy amount of bullying makes you a better person. Yeah. It really does.
To an
extent.
Because you have to thicken up your skin.
Yeah, that's right. Your friends, because I know, growing up with the guys I grew up with, not even the kids that I grew up with in the neighborhood, because they weren't all that, they were kind of soft too, but Like growing up with some of them guys and, hanging out with some of them guys in Spangler, we were fucking brutal to each other. Fucking brutal to each other,
But even to this day, are you still friends with them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's where these kids today won't know what true friendship is.
Right.
They won't have that sense of bonding.
No.
And it's a shame that they'll never. I don't think it'll ever come back.
No.
It would take generations to return to the way we were just 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Right.
You figure 14, 15 years old. How we grew up compared to now. And
these kids won't know.
No, and until they put corporal punishment back in, it won't happen. Even parents that were smacked as kids that believe in corporal punishment would be afraid to allow a teacher to give their children corporal punishment. I feel like, for whatever reason, I just feel like you don't want somebody beating your kid.
I would. If my kid's out somewhere and I'm not there to correct him, somebody's got to, right? Yeah. Or he's going to grow up to be a little bastard. Yep. That's all there is to it. I would have no problem with it within reason.
Well, that's why they have an axe.
Right, within reason. But some of these parents, I feel like they would just never go for it. Even the ones that did get smacked as kids and know what the value of a good ass beating is, I don't think they would even go for it anymore. I think we're so far removed from that type of punishment. Compared
to the days where if I stayed at somebody's house, my mother would call their parents and say, listen, if you beat your kid, you beat mine too, and then call me. Because when we went to people's houses, you were to be on your best behavior.
That's right. You were a reflection of your parents back then.
Well, exactly. Yep. And I never understood that as a kid. Why it was so important until you got older.
Now you understand it.
Exactly. Now I see what my mother was talking about and saying, hey.
Frank Vella made a good point the other day. I was talking to him. We were bullshitting. We were out shooting. We were out bullshitting. And he said, the me now would fight my 18-year-old me. And it's a great point. Because we were just bastards. We didn't understand why things were the way they were. And now that we're older and we look back, it's like, oh, now we understand why, why you had to be on your best behavior when you went to somebody else's house. Things like that we understand a lot better now. And he put it perfectly. He said, I would fight the 18 and 17-year-old me now, because it's like
I probably wouldn't, because I'd probably get my ass
last of the tough guy generation, man.
The old Mike was brutal. The new Mike is way more polite and way more forgiving.
Yeah.
Because
you have to be.
Yeah. It's not the same time anymore.
No, it's not.
And the old Mike, I'd have been like, you know what? I'm just going to avoid this guy because it's just going to lead to trouble.
Sure. Sure.
And it did. I paid a heavy price.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of money.
You lost 10 fucking years.
It's you think 30 I paid, and I never realized until I actually got into the system. And the guy went in front of the judge. He looked at me, he says, because I never had a serious record.
Right.
He says, he asked me one day, he said, all the fights you've ever been in, he said, did you ever win any? I said, yeah. I said, I won a lot. I said, I lost a few. He says, well, he said, in 15 fights, he said, you've paid $38,000 to the state of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
He says, sound like the state of Pennsylvania won. And I said, can I see that paper? And it went clean back to 1987.
Wow.
And I started looking at it. Nick, 3,000 here, 5,000 for this fight, 3,800.
Wow.
And then it dawns on you.
You didn't win any.
I didn't win any. Nah. The state of Pennsylvania.
They won them all.
38 grand. I could have bought a new vehicle.
Oh yeah, a nice car too.
And that's why I remember when I came home, I'm like, I'm done. No matter what you do, and And I can tell you this from being in there. No matter what you do, when they slam them doors behind you, you think to yourself, it's like, I wish I wouldn't have did it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And no amount of money that you ever made, no amount of money fights you, because when they slam the doors, you're like, fuck, I want out of here.
Yep.
Like
immediately.
Yeah.
Intake. Like, Sallyport. When they bring you through Sallyport, that's when you realize I don't want to fucking be here.
And it comes to the realization that fighting to prove a point that I was tougher than you.
That's it.
Now here you are. You're sitting behind the fucking bars.
Now we'll see how tough you are.
Yeah. And now you're literally, you lost everything. You know, you lost your cars. You lost your bikes. Now you're sitting here 2.5 years of sitting in a cell thinking, yeah, that thing goes planned.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's and for what? To prove a point?
To prove nothing.
Yeah, because the person you were fighting with or the person you assaulted, them motherfuckers are still out on the streets.
Yeah, doing whatever they want to fucking do.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why when I came home, I had a whole new attitude. Now when I see bullshit coming, I'm that way.
Yeah, exactly. I go the other fucking way. It's not worth it.
There's not worth it. Not my monkey, not my circus.
That's right.
I'm gone.
That's right.
Like we'll go down, like many times we'll go down to the bar or something, and we see shit happening where normally you would stick around. Mm-hmm. Like fuck this, I'm out of here.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
It's times have changed.
They have.
And you realize it. It
right
ain't
away.
worth it.
Mm-mm.
And whenever I was in, I used to talk to the older guys. And I say, how much money you make selling dope? How much money you make? I made 100,000, 200,000. I said, would you give all that back to get out? They said, I'd give triple it back to get out. Doesn't it's all fun and games until you have to pay. Yeah. And then it's like, boy, this really sucks.
It's like when you're paying fines, you think nothing of it because you're working. You know the check's going to be there. You know the fine's going to get paid off. Once they slam them doors, no amount of money in the world is going to get you out of it. You're done. You're done. They got you.
You got to pay the piper.
That's it. They got you.
And there's a lot of people that they don't want to.
I went to the brig when I was in the Navy. I got midship's movement. I went to the brig, and I remember they came and they took me and I went to captain's mast and all that. It was whatever. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna go.
Take what's coming.
Yeah, I thought maybe they'll put me on restriction, and I'll just be on the ship 45 days, loss of pay, whatever. And then the captain said, you're because he looked at my record, so I'd only been in a year. Yeah. And in that year, I'd been in trouble so many fucking times, they could have kicked me out. Yeah. And he said, you're a problem. He said, but here's how we fix problems. He said, you go to the brig for 30 days. He said, when you come out, we'll see if you're still a fucking problem. And I remember I was like, that's when it hit me, like, holy shit, I got to grow up. I'm in the Navy. I'm a serviceman now. Hey, you're running around, you're drinking, you're fighting. It's a good time. Yeah. And then they slam that fucking door on you. And now.
It's a wake up call.
It's a huge wake up call. And I'll tell you what, I walked the line the rest of my time on that boat.
I'll tell you what, my wake up call, and
I only did 30 days.
Now mind you, Nick, I mean, I can handle myself. Always could grow up. Right. I could fucking fight, and I could handle my own. Sure. And I'll never forget, I go to Western Penitentiary out in Pittsburgh. Right. Down along the river. Yeah. First time out in the yard. First day I get out in the yard. I start doing the numbers. It's you always
sizing them up.
You always look around and
it's the same in the brig.
1,100 people go out to yard at one time, and then you go to a chow hall. Yeah. And sometimes they'll break it up, so maybe they'll go 500 at a time. Right. So this particular day, it's a half yard, and so we're 500 deep. Half of the jail's going out. Yeah. And the wake up call is when you start looking around. And you're looking around and you're counting the numbers of the whites. Yeah. There's 9. There's 400 and 93
everything
blacks.
else.
And you're like, man, like you fucked up. You know,
you're in
like,
a Shark Tank at that point.
That's all that point, you know, you are no longer the minority.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, like this, it's real, man. It's like, this ain't no joke.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I started looking. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just going to straighten my shit out and not come back here, you know.
How long were you in?
2.5 years.
Oh, 2.5. I thought you were in for like 10. 2.5.
2.5.
And that was enough. That was more than enough. I did 9 days up at Cambria County on a bum charge, and
two and a half.
Nope, that's good for me.
2.5 in, and 6 months down at the halfway house down in Johnstown.
Okay.
And but boy, you get in there and you start looking around like, man, this is fucking real. Like, this ain't what you see on television.
No.
And you know, hear me, fucking big white guy, fucking skinhead, looking like the Klan fucking rules into town.
With 493 black guys out on the fucking yard just staring you down, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. But you know, the thing of it is a lot of misconception about jail.
People just want to get on.
Yep. They want to do the time and they want to go home.
Yep.
The majority of them don't want a problem.
Right.
And it is, people always say it is what you make it.
Right.
If you go in there and you're respectable, you don't have to be a bitch, you don't have to be a pushover.
Right.
But just be respectable.
Sure.
If you walk into somebody, it's your, you know, hey, my bad. For the most part, you be respectable.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to treat you with respect. But now, if you're going to go in there and be a butthead, and you think you're going to run the
Johnny
place,
Tough Guy, you're going to get fucked in the shower.
Yeah. I tell you what, I counted. There was a black guy on a picnic table. He had his legs up on the picnic table, and he was doing push-ups.
Uh-huh.
And he did push-ups. We get 1 hour yard.
Mm-hmm.
So the one day I sat there and I counted.
Mm-hmm.
He did over 1,000 push-ups in 1 hour.
Jesus Christ.
How are you going to fight a guy that ain't going to get tired of punching you?
Yeah.
So
it dawns on you real quick.
It dawns on you, hey, you need to mind your P's and Q's.
That's it.
Just be respectful.
Yeah.
You know, and for the most part, unless you borrow something that you don't pay back, or like I said, if you don't go in there looking for a problem,
you won't get a problem.
Everybody's trying to go home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just one of those things that everybody's trying to get back out the door.
Right,
you know?
right.
And it's you watch the shit on television.
Yeah,
a lot of it is hyped
fake.
up.
It's Hollywood.
They'll cut out. They'll only use like certain parts of it.
Yeah,
but it definitely was a wake up call that.
Sure.
Listen, you need to straighten your shit up
all day.
And God, since I've come home in 2006, fuck, I haven't missed a beat. You know, right. I got my shit straight. You know,
you have to.
Yeah, got a good job.
You have to.
And I haven't looked back. How'd you
get in? How'd you get in down at the steel mill? How'd that all play out? You got out of jail. You had nothing. I know. You told that story many times.
Yep. I had $47 to my name on President's Day of 2005. Nothing. But a guy of all things, a guy that I used to work for many years ago, happened to work at this steel mill. He was also in the halfway house.
Okay.
And he told me, he said, hey, Mike, he said, they're looking for bulldozers down here, man. You know, and by the time I come home, I was in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
He said, they're looking for bulldozers. I said, really? So I knew the one boss used to go to the YMCA down in Johnstown. So I get up early one morning. I go down, his name was Fred, and I see him working out and struck up a conversation with him, told him my story, you know, and he said, hey, fill out an application. But I had the only way back then you could get in, you had to know somebody. You had to get somebody to vouch for you.
I gotcha.
And that's how you had to get in. Well, sure enough, he vouched for me, got in. It wasn't a year later, he got shit canned.
Really?
And I'm still there. 14 plus years now.
Wow.
And it's been good to me. I mean, I have no complaints.
Wow.
I mean, but it was just sheer luck that he was at the halfway house the same time I was.
Yeah.
And told me, hey, you know, told me who to talk to and everything. It was one of those things like everything fell right into place.
Right.
call it divine intervention, call it, call whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
It
just worked out.
Yeah, because I worked for the guy years ago. I mean, we're talking back in like 1992, 1993. Right,
when you were a kid, when you were still what?
Yeah,
right
I wasn't even 20 years old, and I worked for this guy. And all those years later, it had paid off.
Sure.
Because that was my my way in.
Sure.
And then years later, I got Lansing.
Yeah. Well, and there's
and then
a story.
I got him in because that's how back then that's the only way.
You had to vouch for something. You had to have somebody vouch for you.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. Absolutely. But no, they've been good to me. I mean, but then again, too, I've been good to them. You produce work. It's not.
I should have took it when you gave me the tour. I should have took it. I had, like I said, I'm telling you, I went to broadcasting school. Working at that radio station. That's what I really wanted to do was radio. And then, shortly after being at that fucking station, I realized this ain't for me.
Well, as they said, when you came to the tour, they said, yeah, we're going to hire your buddy. And then they said, well, they called him and he turned down the job.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the
Yeah, radio, man. I really, 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 really wanted to do radio.
Yeah, making good money. Back then it was only $12, $13 an hour. Yeah. But, still, even back then we were making good money. With all the overtime.
That's way better than what I would have done at the fucking radio station, that's for sure.
Yeah, it didn't work out, did it?
That place was a flop. It closed. I quit, and then like 4 months later they shut down.
Yeah.
There was five stations in that building. If you run 5 fucking radio stations, if you can't run five fucking radio stations in that tiny ass fucking town, gone.
Yeah.
Fucking gone. And even if they wouldn't even sell out the Clear Channel. They just went under.
Yeah.
That fat fuck that owned the place. He was more concerned with his fucking horses than he was with his radio station. That place was fucking doomed.
I was going to say,
that place was fucking doomed.
I remember when you took it. Hindsight's 20/20.
You're right. Hey, that's like I said, that's what I went to school for. I figured I could do well down there, start out in sales, maybe get on air at some point. But
yeah.
It was. You know what? When I quit when I was done there, that's when I realized I'm not meant for terrestrial radio, and I saw which way the internet was going, and this is the way here is YouTube, Facebook, live videos, shit like that. That's where I want to be anyway, because I can't do regular. I fucking cuss too much for regular radio. Subject matter is another. Yeah. The lawyers would never have it.
You'd be fired in a week.
Gone a week.
Yeah,
as soon as I crack the mic and start motherfucking everybody up and down, I'm gone.
Yeah, as soon as you call somebody a dumbass, you'd be off the air.
So, but hey, man, no, I appreciated the tour and the offer and everything. You know that. It just
it's one of those things, and I tell everybody, every one of us have a calling, or every one of us have a gift.
Yeah.
I can't sell myself.
Right.
Right. I can't do paperwork.
Right.
Clerical.
Right.
I can never sit at a desk.
Right. Yeah, that sucks. Sucks.
I wasn't brought up that way. But there are other people that can sell fucking ice to Eskimos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you sit and wonder, like, man, how can you do that?
You can watch them for days too.
Yeah,
and not pick anything up because they just know everybody's different.
Yeah, they have.
So talking to this guy, you might not be the same conversation that you have with this guy.
Everybody has, they have a gift to gab, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Like me, I'm cut and dry.
Mm-hmm. From the hip.
Yeah.
From the hip. Like it or not, this is what's coming.
Exactly. I can't bullshit.
Nah, I hate lying to people. And there's
other people that literally can sit there, and like I said, that's their thing. Sales. I have some buddies that can do sales no problem.
Isn't that what Andy does? Andy's in sales, isn't he?
He was. Now he's into the bodywork and stuff.
Okay.
But he's one that, man, he can sell ice to Eskimos.
Yep.
Me, I'm just like, nah, I can deliver the work, but to try to sell it, fuck it. It's just not me.
Right.
So if that's your gift or whatever, then
I tried it and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do sales. That's what I did at the radio station. Up there was sales, and I'd get meetings with people, like bar owners and shit.
Yeah.
And then that's an easy sell. You can sell a bar owner, a couple minutes of airtime, but as soon as they say, why should I don't know. I don't know why you should fucking advertise. I don't know. You got a little shithole bar. You're doing all right for yourself. What do you fucking need me for?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you. This probably ain't gonna help you at all. What the fuck?
Well, I think it's one of those things too that it has a lot to do with your conscience.
Yeah. I just can't.
I don't want them coming back and saying, "Wow, you really fucking did me wrong.
You sold me a shitty product."
Yes.
My buddy used to sell cars down here, down at the north end, down at the car dealership. Right. I'm not gonna mention any names because it's pretty fucked up, but he took a guy for a ride in a car. The check engine light's on. The guy says, "Oh, what's that check engine light mean?" He tells him, it's a new system they have. The car checks its own engine. It's just telling you that it's okay. And if it starts blinking, that's fine. Yeah. Just wait for it to go on. I couldn't do it. No, I couldn't do it. How do you lie to somebody? But you know what? He was putting food on the table for his family.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yep. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do sales. And that's why I work where I work, and
but then again, not everybody could go down to that steel mill and do what you do either, because that's a tough fucking job.
It's hot. Some days it's miserable.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing is I have buddies that would never make it down because it's gritty. You come home, you ache.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fucking rough, man. That is fucking rough.
And but there's guys that. Same thing too. I don't think I could ever go into coal mines.
Right.
I have buddies that do it for a living, and I think, 32 inches. Fuck no. Trying to peel my side? No way. Whatever they make, it ain't enough.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Going underground like that? Nope.
Got it. Trying to poop in 32 inches? Nah, no, thank you. Whatever them guys make, they deserve every dime of it.
You're right. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Not for me.
That's like submarines. Them guys that were on submarines when I was in. I took a tour of a submarine. It's too enclosed. Yeah, I'm not even claustrophobic. It's just too enclosed. And then once they shut that top hatch and you go underwater, that's a whole different ballgame.
Then you realize,
fuck that.
Something happens. It's over.
No, it's game over.
Yeah, at that pressure.
Yeah, game over. You're done. You're done. That's why fuck that. Nope, no submarines for me, buddy. No submarines, no coal mines. I'm good on that. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in.
I give it to them. Whatever they make, they deserve.
They're absolutely worth it. They're worth it. I roast coal miners a lot. I do, but in all actuality, they deserve a lot more than they get. They deserve a hell of a lot more than they get. Especially around here, there's nothing around here. They have no, a lot of them have no choice. What the fuck are they gonna do?
You got to figure we grew up in coal country. They call it coal country for a reason.
Oh yeah. It's either that or strap a ladder to your truck and go build shit. A lot of them, that's their choice.
Yeah, I did that for a while. And in a sense, there is a sense of pride looking at something that you built.
Oh yeah. Oh, all day.
There is, but at the same time too. You have to deal with the customer.
Yeah.
And boy, when you have a job where you're isolated from the customer, it's a whole lot nicer.
Yeah.
And having to deal with them people because
people suck.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. People suck. And they're gonna watch what you do. They're going to watch over you like some kind of fucking supervisor. They're going to micromanage you like you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
Every little thing, you're going to be nervous, so you're not going to be given 110%. You're going to be focused on them focusing on you. Now, how are you supposed to do your fucking job?
Yeah, I don't miss it.
I worked for Jerry Kelly over there. I worked with him for a summer. And, the siding on the big 3-dome church up there?
Yeah.
We did that. The whole fucking time we were up there, the people that ran the church were up there. It's like, how are you supposed to focus on your fucking job when you got these people telling you how to do your fucking job? Yeah, and I was just a Toby. I just ran, I cut shit and ran it up the ladder. That's all I did. Yeah. I could only imagine how much pressure he was under,
Yeah.
But,
believe me, I've been there. I'm glad I'm out of it.
Yeah, construction's...
Yeah, I like where I'm at.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Steel mill. Tell me about some of your toys. What do you got in the works? What are you building over there? Speaking of building. You got any toys in the works?
Nothing that we're building. Just our side by side and our Jeep. And I got to be honest. Whenever we bought our house, I sold a lot of the toys I had.
Did you?
Yeah, instead of getting a mortgage.
You always have though. You just build them and then sell them. You build really cool shit, and then just sell it.
Well, when we bought our new house, instead of going and getting a mortgage out, I sold the Harleys, sold the buggies,
sold everything, just pay cash.
That big Wrangler I had, sold everything, and just went and bought the house straight out.
Right on.
Which, if you can do it, is the way to go. I mean, instead of going 50, 60 grand in a hole to buy a house, which some of my buddies do. It's and that, but we're slowly getting back to where we were. But
that's good.
It's but it's one of those things like when you sell all your toys, it's hard.
It's overwhelming.
Almost. Yeah, it's hard to get them back.
Yeah,
because you think, you build them up after 10 years, and then
stuff.
Yeah, and I think I got $25,000 out of everything I owned.
No shit.
Because when I was ready,
you took lowball prices. Though.
I did. I blew everything out the door. Yeah. Sold everything, and but if you want to have a home or whatever, sometimes
that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
Instead of going to the bank and paying 30 years for a mortgage.
Yeah, that's fucked. That's fucked. They get you you pay triple.
I would have to say.
Yeah, you pay almost triple. Yeah,
I never take my loans.
Here's an interesting thing. When I lived out in Philly, right? Those people out there will buy a $300,000-$400,000 home, right? You look in their home, they don't even have blinds, so you can look right in their fucking windows. Yeah. They got no furniture. They might have like a kitchen chair, a couple of chairs, and a TV on a fucking crate. They got nothing. They have these They can't afford it. They get into these fucking mortgages. $300,000-$400,000 on a fucking home that they're going to be paying.
That's a $2,500.
Oh, they got nothing in the house. They got They got no fucking furniture. They got no appliances. They got nothing. How do you live like that? I don't understand how people do it. When I worked on the base, this guy that I worked with, he was an E6. He was our